What would you do if time stopped tomorrow? This is a question that has kept me up at night for years. There's this one particular scene from an anime called Angel Beats that plays out in my head every now and then. It takes place in the final episode. The main character, Okazaki, is hanging off of a building about to take his own life, but suddenly time stops. Everything freezes and he's left alone in the middle of the street with all of the people around him frozen in place. He looks down at the ground and asks the question, what would you do? What would you actually do if this were to happen? Because this isn't just some fictional scenario. In a way, it's something we experience every single day. Every night when we go to sleep and wake up in the morning, we literally experience a sort of time stop. We enter a different state of being where we don't exist in the physical world. And when we wake up, everything has changed. People have moved on, things have progressed, and we are left trying to catch up. So let's use that experience as a way to answer this question. Let's talk about what you would do if time stopped tomorrow. If time stopped tomorrow, there would be no more sunrise or moonrise. The sky would be stuck in whatever state it's currently in. The leaves on the trees would be frozen mid-fall. Cars would be stuck in the middle of the road, and everyone around you would be completely still. It might seem like a pretty fun situation to be in. After all, you could do whatever you wanted and get away with it. Nobody would move, nobody would speak, it would just be you. For a moment, you might even find yourself thinking that this is awesome. No more responsibilities, no more obligations, no more rules. You could rob banks, steal cars, and do whatever you wanted. The scariest part is that you probably wouldn't get caught. This idea of robbing a bank after time stops is a pretty popular concept in fiction. And a lot of stories will play out this scenario to explore how people would behave in such a situation. So oftentimes it doesn't end well. It's in the show The Good Place. Michael, who is the architect of The Good Place, decides to try and improve his rating by creating a world where he is God and time is frozen. He does this to increase his own happiness and pleasure. But it doesn't take long for him to realize that this is not a good idea, because he ends up feeling lonely and bored. There's only so much pleasure one can derive from things before it becomes dull and uninteresting. And this is exactly what happens to Michael. As fun as it may seem at first to have everybody frozen in time so that you can do whatever you want, there comes a point where it gets old. When you're left alone in an empty playground, the joy quickly fades, and you just feel sad. So let us assume that you've managed to avoid getting bored after time stopped, and you still having fun. What would happen if someone else showed up? It seems like the most logical thing to assume is that nothing would happen. After all, time has stopped, nothing can change. But this is actually a really interesting philosophical problem known as the ship of Theseus. The ship of Theseus is a thought experiment in which a ship is gradually repaired over time with new materials. Eventually, all of the original parts have been replaced. So the question is it still the same ship? Well, the answer depends on how you define the word same. If you say that it's the same because it has the same function, then yes, it's still a ship. But if you say that it's not the same because none of the original parts remain, then no, it's not a ship anymore. This thought experiment applies to us humans too. We are constantly changing. Every second of every day, our bodies are breaking down and rebuilding themselves. Every interaction we have changes us in some way. So the question is, if we keep changing, then who are we? Are we the people we were yesterday? Are we the people we will be tomorrow? Or are we the sum total of all of the people we've ever been? Assuming that you aren't a total psychopath, you probably believe that you are still you, even though you've changed. So this means that there would be a change in the person who shows up. Now, depending on how long time has been stopped for, this person might be younger or older than they were when time stopped. They might have more or less hair, they might be fatter or thinner. They might look completely different. And upon seeing this other person, you would either be confused or frightened. But what if they looked exactly the same? What if this other person appeared and didn't age a single day? Then you would be even more confused. Why don't they seem to be affected by time? How is this possible? This is exactly what happens to two characters in the anime I mentioned earlier, Angel Beats. Two characters, Okazaki and Yuri, find themselves in this situation. They see each other again after time stops, and they notice that only one of them ages, while the other remains the same. This creates a lot of confusion between the two characters, and it leads to a very existential conversation. Okazaki asks Yuri, "Don't you feel like you're missing something right now?" She replies, Like what, he says? Like you're living? She responds, I am living. I just don't know it. He says, but you have to know it. Otherwise, you'll never understand why you're here. So let's go back to the original question. If time stopped tomorrow, what would you do? If we take a step back and look at the bigger picture, the implications of time stopping are actually quite terrifying. If time stopped tomorrow, the sun would stop shining. The earth would stop rotating. The moon would stop orbiting. Everything that moves would stop moving. And this includes you. Your blood would stop pumping. Your lungs would stop breathing. You would become a statue frozen in place forever. At some point, your body would decompose and return to dust. All of the matter that makes you up would eventually dissipate and spread throughout the universe. In the grand scheme of things, the concept of time stopping is both fascinating and terrifying. It makes us realize just how fragile our existence is. We spend so much of our lives worried about things that don't matter. We stress over small problems and petty arguments. We fight and we argue. We hurt each other. All of this becomes even more meaningless when you realize that at any moment, it could all be taken away from us. In the Angel Beats scene that I mentioned earlier, Okazaki asks Yuri another very important question. He asks her why she's still holding on. Why hasn't she let go and moved on? Her response is heartbreaking. She says, because I don't want to disappear. I want to stay here a little longer. And this is something that we can all relate to. None of us wants to disappear. We all want to hold on to this world a little bit longer, but sometimes we have to force ourselves to let go. Sometimes we have to accept that things won't last forever. And this is a hard lesson to learn. So if time stopped tomorrow, I would spend the day doing all of the things that I've been putting off. I would visit all of the places I've been wanting to see. I would call all of the people I love and tell them just how much they mean to me. And I would do all of this with a deep sense of gratitude, knowing that I am experiencing something that most people never get to experience. A true appreciation for the gift of life. After all, as the Buddhist monk Shunryu Suzuki once said, the whole secret of existence is contained in the power of being conscious of being alive, and all that there is. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment down below, letting me know what you would do if time stopped tomorrow. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.